Alright, what's up guys? So for the second matchup analysis, we're going to do Yone into Aatrox. So this is probably my favorite matchup in the game, so I was pretty excited to do this one. As a quick overview, this is a Yone favored matchup, um, but it's not really... you can't do whatever you want, is what I mean, basically. It's a Yone favored skill matchup, kind of, but it's one where Yone has a lot of agency, so it should be in Yone's control what happens during the lane and throughout the game. It's very skillful, so what I mean by that, it's like when you play Yone into Mundo, you can kind of just go in and bash his head in as much as you can. But with Aatrox, you have to be like elegant and like everything has to be pre-planned, if that makes sense. So it's like a really skillful matchup in that way. It's not completely one-sided though. Aatrox can win the lane if the Yone messes up, of course. And something that's interesting is that both champions have very clear and opposite game plan. So what I mean by that, like Yone is going to be strong in the earlier parts of the lane, Aatrox is going to be strong in the later parts of the lane, and then later during the game, like Aatrox is really strong 1 to 2 items, Yone is really strong at 3 items. Like Yone is really strong in side lane, Aatrox is really strong in skirmishes and team fights in the early parts of mid game. So that's what I mean by clear and opposite. All right, so for the build, Doran's Blade and Doran's Shield are both viable, and it depends mainly on junglers. So what do I mean by that? If you, I think you should go D-Blade, like, in a large majority of the games. However, like if you play Yone into Aatrox and your jungler plays like some useless shit stain jungler like Kane or Graves or something that's going to be completely useless during the laning phase, and then the enemy jungler plays something really threatening, like I don't know, like a Jarvan or Vi or Shaco or something like that, then going D-Shield could be better. But in most cases, D-Blade is good. All right, so for the first base, you kind of have two main path, I would say. So the first thing that's mandatory is daggers. You always want at least 2 daggers on your first base, and then after that, you can, if you go recurve on your first base, you're going to be actually really strong in all-ins. So for extended fights, the thing is you have no sustain, and Aatrox's Qs start to hit like a level 5, 6, 7. So going Vamp is also good. So let's say it's really even. Maybe you got ganked early or something, so like you don't really have a lead. I think going like 2 or 3 daggers with Vamp Scepter is really good, and that allows you to like cruise until you get Bork, which is one of the main reference point of this matchup, right? Gaining to Bork. And but if you are ahead, maybe you got a gank early from your jungler, and like you're ahead, and like you want to push your lead, you want to like be really aggressive, then recurve bow daggers, really good. After that, components, I would prioritize recurve bow and Vamp Scepter in this matchup, and then Greaves is also good, but I would say it's only good if you're ahead. So if you're behind, the issue is if you go boots from behind, like Aatrox is gonna finish his first item a long time before you get Bork, so it feels kind of shit. And like what feels better if you're behind is just to get to Bork as soon as possible so that you can start playing aggressive. So if you are ahead, the thing is if you get Greaves as ahead, you can completely shit on him like a lot easier than if you had like Vamp Scepter and Pickaxe, for example, because you can dodge his Qs easier, and you have a lot of attack speed for extended fights, so it reduces the Q cooldown, the Q cast time, and the W cast time as well. So that's it for items. Yeah, and of course the build path, Borg, Shield Bow, IE, of course. I don't really like Mortal Reminder. Just it's kind of a waste of stat. Like Yone deals a fair share of magic damage, so like the armor pen isn't like 100% efficient. And additionally, you just don't need the anti-heal, to be honest. Like, if you get the 3 items in the game, you're going to shit on them no matter what. So I would just go IE. Just a better item overall. Alright, for runes, pretty standard rune page. Lethal Tempo, Absorb Life, Alacrity, Cut Down. And then for secondary, there's some things you can switch around. So if you're really, really confident in the matchup, you're going to realize you don't really need Second Wind. And in this case, I would go Shield Bash. Like, Shield Bash on flinching is a lot of combat power. Like, you get tankier every time he hits the sweet spot, so that's, the unflinching feels really good. And then for the short trades, really, the Shield Bash, really good as well. And then, other than that, what you could switch around maybe is... I've seen a couple of players go, like, Demolish Second Wind. That, I guess, could be an option. I don't really like going Demolish, though, in this matchup at least. So yeah, for the most part, I would keep this rune page as is for most games. And the last thing is like you want attack speed and adaptive force for sure. The one thing you could change is go scaling health. I just don't like it. It's it's more like a mindset thing. Like, you want to fight, you want to brawl early, right? You want to make your advantage early. The best scaling in top lane is winning your lane. So like, I don't really like the scaling health just for that mindset. So I usually always take the flat one. All right, so for the power curve, this is really important. It's Yone favored 1 to 4, so you really want to push an advantage in those first few levels and poke him down, getting low and lower. Because from 5 to 9, his Qs hit a lot harder. And Yone is not really a strong laner at this point. So, like, you really want to push an advantage 1 to 4 so that the 5 to 9 can be easier. And then level 10, it's not really about levels, it's more about, like, when you get Bork. It's, like, really, really, really easy to play for Yone. Like, you can play really aggressive. And if you're not behind at that point, it's pretty much game over for the Aatrox. Alright, so we're going to go through 3 examples. 2 of my games, and then I wanted to get a high elo one as well. So let's get right in. So in this game, you can see like both junglers are kind of useless early, Karthus and Mundo, so I went D-Blade. I thought I was going to be fairly isolated in my matchup. So that's why I went D-Blade. And for the rune page, it's pretty much what we talked about with Unflinching and Second Wind. Alright, so firstly, stacking your Qs is really good in this matchup. Like, as soon as as the wave comes in, start stacking your Q. And then here I misspaced the Q2. Like, you want to dodge inwards, I kind of tried to. Missed it. Unfortunate. But that's the thing, right? Like, he hit Q1 and Q2, but like, I'm still, like, I'm chilling here. His Qs don't really do damage early. Alright, so here, what we can notice is I pushed pretty aggressively. The thing is, like, in this matchup, your E is a really important ability. And level 1, if he doesn't play really dumb, like here, you know, like, he didn't come in my face, started auto me or whatever. Like, he used his Q, and then he backed off, right? So I just played for the wave, and then went for a 2-wave crash into a ward, and let the wave come back to center. So you want this wave position as often as possible, getting the wave to center, because if it's too close to his tower, you don't have a lot of room to play. So wave management is pretty important in this matchup. Let's look at this trade. So here, the reason why I'm bashing it down a bit faster than I technically should is just because it's not for the wave management, it's to get level 3 as fast as possible. And then here, that's a really, really important trade pattern. Alright, let's break it down. So here, I get level 3. Level 3 versus 2, of course, I want to abuse that, so I go for a bit of a trade. And then Aatrox uses E and Q, so I know I can trade here. And that's a trade pattern you want to go for, like, most of the time. So you dodge his Q with movement, right? So here, dodge to the side, or inwards actually. And then so you dodge the Q1 with movement. That's the important part. And then Q2, you dodge with E1. And then you can do as much damage as you can, and then you dodge his Q3 with E2. So Q1 with movement, you use E1 to dodge his Q2, and then you can go for a Q, a W, an auto, or as much damage as you can do. And then when he casts this Q3, you want to snap back. So one thing you will notice is that in this matchup, it doesn't really feel good to make it too volatile. Like, going for 100 to 0 trades feels a lot better. So like, staying high HP and dealing damage to him, but like not overextending the trade at the point where you would take damage. That's what I mean by 100 to 0 trades. And then here, I play for the wave again. Make sure I cleanly crash the wave. And then my jungler was top, whatever. Alright, now we'll see. Like, the wave is kind of close to his tower, because the last wave was a cannon wave, so it took a long time to clear. And then here you have two options. The first one is to let it come back to you, if you want to play a bit aggressive. And the second one is to just shove the wave as fast as possible, which I couldn't do this time, by the way, because I went to help my juggler. But like, one-shotting this wave is going to make the next one go back to center, and like I said, that's what you want in this matchup. Also here, you don't try to dodge like outside or to the side, you go inwards and I try to get a Q onto him, didn't work out, whatever. Alright, let's see. Here, stacking my Qs, he used his E and his Q1. So I tried to go in with the Q3, didn't work out. That's fine. He has to respect, right? If his E is down, he has to respect you. He's not really contesting the wave right now, so I'm kind of farming freely. Not much happens. And I tried to go for Q3s. I'm fishing for Qs. I didn't land much in this game. But you should, like, once you have Q3 and your E is up, it's something you should look to do. So here, I actually messed up. Here, like, once he casts Q2, I should have done the trade pattern I talked about earlier, where I E1 inwards. Then I could go for like auto W and the Q maybe, and then once he Q3s, I can snap back, and that would have been a really good trade for me. I just tanked the Q2 for fun, I guess. But I still get some damage onto him. But it would have been better if I stayed higher HP there and just dodge all his combo. Alright, and that's the thing, right? Like, at level 5, his Q starts to hit a bit more. And that's the part of the matchup where it would be a bit harder to play if we were both low HP. Because, like, Yone just functions better at high HP. So, here I tanked a bit too much damage for my taste. But, like, that's a part of the matchup where you have to be a bit more respectful of his Qs. Oh, actually, that's a thing you can do a lot on Yone. It's like, once the wave crashes, you can E, make sure the wave crashes, and then as the tower shoots, like, you can see, like, the tower shot is, like, in the air right now. So as the tower shoots, you can go for a Q and snap back before the tower shoots. It's a really cool trick you can do when the wave crash. And then here, I'm just going to be looking to base soon. The thing is, like, he's half HP, so he doesn't really have threat. If we were both full HP or both low HP, I think he would have the slight edge in this part of the matchup. But right now, I poked him a lot early, so I'm a bit free to play it out. But I'm going to be looking for a base because I do have a lot of gold. That's what I do now. Alright, so in this game, I went Triple Dagger and Vamp, Scepter, and my goal is mainly to play to get Bork at this point. Like, I do have a pretty decent CS lead of like 15 CS or something like that, but it's not enough. Like, my goal is just get to Bork, and then I can play aggressive. But now he didn't base, so he can't really pressure me yet. And the thing is, like, when he does that, like, he screwed up, right? So when I based, here he should have farmed his wave. He should have based now. He didn't. So that was his mistake. And I'm punishing that right now, but like, if he based, it would have been a bit harder to play, of course. But because he didn't base, I'm going to try to keep him in lane as much as possible, so I'm one-shotting every wave. And then keep the prio for grubs, and now he based. Alright, so now I'm in a bit of a tricky spot, because Aatrox is going to base with more gold than when I based, because I based quite a while ago. So now it's kind of a time in the matchup where I have to respect, which I don't. Like, this, by the way, would have been a really good trade if I had a recurve bow. It's kind of unfortunate I don't, because like, I played as if I had it, and I don't. And then I get shit on by the Karthus R and die to a gank. Alright, so now I'm a little bit behind. And once you fall behind in this matchup, the one thing you should have in mind is get to Bork. right? Because at Bork, you can play a lot aggressive. So here, I get to go for a trade for the simple fact that he threw all of his abilities on me. So, like, in this period of the matchup, like when you don't have Bork yet, he is kind of stronger, but you can still punish mistakes, right? This is a mistake. Like, he throws Q1, I'm trying to bait his Q2, and then his Q3. Nothing lands. He doesn't have any Qs or any E. Like, now, like there should be a switch in your mind when he throws every Q and the E. Like, even if you're behind, like, you're going to win the all-in. We both don't have R right now, by the way. And I have the flash advantage from the previous play. So those are all factors that go into, I know I win this. So here, held my flash for his Q3, and he can't really do much here. So why did that work? First, I know we both didn't have R. His R is pretty good at this point in the game. So we both didn't have R, which is a positive. I had flash advantage, and he threw all of the abilities on the wave and didn't hit me with anything. So that's why this all didn't work. But the thing is, like, if he would have played better, I wouldn't have a window to do this in this part of the matchup. So here, stay for the proxy and get myself a good recall timer. Now, here, I am kind of stronger than him at this point. The thing is, I'm going to be a lot stronger than him in 400 gold. So what I'm trying to do, I'm just going to shove my waves, get my Bork. I tried to base here, but I got cancelled by the Karthus R. Bit unfortunate, so I stayed for one more wave. Base for Bork. All right. At this point, you won the game. All right. His Nexus should have exploded by now. I'm ahead a little bit of him. I'm a level up, and I have Bork. I don't want to let him breathe here, so I'm just going to E in and just bash him down. Like, look, I just 1 Q, 2 autos, and a second Q, and like he's already half HP. Really, really strong power spike at this point. So I don't want to get ganked, and I don't want him to base. Like, you can't base here. I'm not going to let him breathe at all. So if he tries to base, I'm going to go under tower and do the trick with the tower shot. So here, the tower is just about to shoot the minion. And then I extended the trade a bit, tanked 1 tower shot to deal more damage. So it's not like black and white, right? Like, you can tank a tower shot. Like, you can tank 300 damage from a tower shot if you're going to deal 500 damage to him. It's not the real numbers, but, like, you get the idea. So now he's forced to TP. And I'm playing really aggressive. Like, I am going to tank tower shots. The reason why it's fine now to take damage is because I have Bork, so I have sustain. Like, once the next wave arrives, I can just hit it and heal to full, basically. And also, like, at this point of the matchup, I'm going to win the all-in, even if I'm, like, 300 HP down. So I'm playing really confident. Here, try to get the Karthus, doesn't work, whatever. And back to playing really aggressive. Here, you can see I'm more willing at this point to use my E aggressively. So in the earlier parts of the lane, I didn't really like starting a trade with E, but once you have Bork, it feels a lot better to do so. Alright, so now his life's kind of miserable, right? I put him to 30% HP or whatever, so he had to base. And now I get tower. So, I'm going to stop it here, and you can see, like, I'm farming 10 CS per minute here. Even if I didn't kill the Aatrox 10,000 times, I only have 1 kill and 1 death. Like, I'm still really, really far ahead. And this Aatrox, he doesn't really have any options right now, because he's going to lose side lane. So I'm going to get Prio, and I'm be able to move to place first. You can see here he's forced to answer top because it's all the way, so I use that opportunity to go bot, and I'm just running the map right now. Because the Aatrox is just so far behind in tempo. And we can see, like, that's pretty much the ideal scenario. Getting to Bork and just shitting on the guy as much as possible. Alright. Second example. So in this game, again, 2 useless junglers. So I go D-Blade. Stack my Q as soon as the wave comes in. We know the drill. And I'm going to go for a 2-wave crash again. You can see even if you tank his Q3, Like, it doesn't really do that much damage. It's ideal if you don't, but in this case, it's not too big of a deal. Alright, so Crash Wave 2, get a ward. See, that's really consistent. It's pretty much the same thing that happened last game. Crash Wave 2, really cleanly, really early, so that the wave comes, like, not too close to his tower, and get a ward. Alright, so here I'm getting level 3. Getting some poke down. He's trying to block the wave here, which is pretty good. But it was pretty hard to do in this case. So here we can see that's the same trading pattern as last game. So here I'm stacking my Q, fishing for my Q3. I'm already inward, so I don't need to dodge this first Q. I'm just going to auto him, or W in this case. As soon as the Q2 appears, E behind him. I get auto. I didn't get the Q because it was on cooldown, and then snap back as soon as the Q3 comes up. That's the most efficient way, in my opinion, to like not receive any damage. And as I said, like in the last game, Yone doesn't really function well from low HP, so you want to stay high HP. Should be one of your priorities. Alright, so here, that's an example. The wave was a bit ugly, too close to his tower, so I just one-shot it. And then the next wave comes back right to the center. Alright, so again, stacking my Q3, and then I'm going to go fish for my Q3, then land, whatever. And then do it again. Stack my Q. Well, this wave crashed. Do it again, stack my Q. I'm going to go fish for it. He's respecting, that's fine. You can see, that, like, every time I stack my third Q here, he walks back, right? And he's trying to farm the wave from range. And then as soon as... I should have actually postured a bit more aggressively here with my Q3. Bit of a mistake. Like, when you have your Q3, you should play like you have more threat. So here, stack my Q3, and then I should have walked up, not backwards. Especially that he used Q1, so I should have, like, Q3 here, and then I have my E to dodge his Q2. Could have been a good trade, but I missed that opportunity. Alright, so we're getting to level 6 here. But again, like, he doesn't really have threat onto me because I'm full HP and he's half HP. The thing is, like, it would be a lot harder to play if we were both full health. If we were both low HP, I mean. Alright, so now he played it better than the other guy. So he took his base timer because he knows that when he bases, he's going to be stronger. So I just crash my wave and do the same. And here, because I'm not too far ahead, I went for Vamp Scepter Double Dagger. But like with Vamp Scepter Double Dagger, I know I'm pretty weak in all-ins. Like, I don't have too much attack speed right now. That's something I have to keep in mind. And you can see, like, now I'm standing a bit further back. Because I kind of trolled there. But he's just stronger, right? His Qs are going to start hitting a bit more. We can see that took a pretty big chunk. So I don't want to tank his Qs. Here, playing a bit from range. But then, like, when I have Q3, I can still walk up, posture aggressively, and go for that same trading pattern, like the Q3 into E to dodge his Q2, and then snap back for his Q3. Here, dodging inwards. See, that's just... It doesn't... Like, you can see... Like, his Qs just do a lot more than they did in the early game. And then here, even if I dodge his Q2 and the sweet spot of his Q3, he's just going to win the trade. Like, he has more damage than me at this point. And even if that trade was pretty bad from my perspective, like, I'm still a level up. There's a lot of matchups where you would just win that, but you don't against Aatrox. You have to play a bit more elegantly. So here, I would actually E his... would I? Hold on. Yeah, I would E his Q2, actually. That was a mistake. So here, Q1, E, auto, W, snap back for his Q3, and I would stay higher HP than what I did there. So here you can see the mindset, though. As soon as the wave comes in, I try to, like, hit Q. Alright, I'm not doing it well, actually, but there's going to be a better example later. But when you have Vamp Scepter, you want to auto the wave as much as possible. Alright, so now it's a pretty tricky situation to be in. So I am full HP, he's full HP. And it's a part of the matchup where he's a bit stronger. I get a bit impatient. Actually, this trade would have been fine. I don't hate like the trading of R in this case. That was fairly decent. The thing is, it wasn't the intention. Like, he wasted all his spells. Here, Q3. So like I have that switch in my mind, right? He uses all his spells. Alright, all in. The thing is, I am like already half HP and I sent my Q3 in Narnia. Like if I Q3'd up where he dodged, it would have been a bit better. So a bit unfortunate. But you can see like at this point his Q2 kind of just shits on me if you tank both. Like you really need to E inwards. That's the thing you really don't want to do. Like once he hits Q1, you can't run backwards. Right? He has his E to catch up to you. So like if he lands Q1, you need to be ready to E inwards. So here that was a really, really bad thing to do, that backstep. And then I had to throw my E like that just to dodge his Q3. Doesn't feel really good. And now I'm too low. Like it's just weird. I actually get really lucky here. Because the Mundo was kind of inting on grubs and I had fruit. So I get to come back to lane. And I'm not too far behind at this point. I get a nice place because of that too, but like that's not really, it's just lucky to be honest. I didn't play that sequence really well. But it does show some mistakes that you need to keep in mind. So like if you get hit by the sweet spot of Q1, you can't go backwards. You need to E inwards. And like you just need to E his Q2. If you don't, you're kind of screwed. Because I didn't E his Q2 like twice. I tanked way too much damage. So you can see in this game, because I felt a bit behind. I'm not really behind anymore, because I got the lucky kill on the Mundo. But I bypassed the boots, right, and I go straight for Bork. So here, Bork and 300 gold, and I int. Alright, so what happened there, I'm letting myself get baited by my jungler. I should just spam ping, like, get out of here. And just go get Bork. This is a really big int. But the thing is, like now, I just died. He is technically a bit ahead. He's a level up on me. But I have Bork. Doesn't matter. You get Bork, you win. So here, look at what I do. Do the trading pattern well. And from a level down with Bork, you just win. Right? I was level 9, he was level 10. So let's break it down here. I know I'm really strong here, so I posture up aggressively, then send my Q3, doesn't land. But here, dodge his Q1 inwards, that was really good. He sends his Q2, I'm gonna E to dodge it, auto Q, snap back for his Q3. And then since he sent the Q3, I know I can send my R. And because I have Bork, I just win the all-in, even from a level down. So that's how strong this power spike is. That's something you really want to play around. And then take his tower. I get my boots. And their lane is pretty much over. Like at this point, this is just a lucky skirmish again, but I get two random kills, get the tower. So at this point, like in the other game, like his game is kind of over. Like you can see, like, I didn't even play it well. But the thing is, you need to be conscious of when you're strong and when you're weak. And don't do like me. Like when he Q2s, you need to E1 forward. So like don't do what I did in the part of the matchup where it was a bit closer. You really need to be disciplined around your E cooldown and how to use it, basically. Alright. So for the last example, we have a Korean Grandmaster Yone. And alright, so we can see, as soon as the wave comes in, he goes for Q, he wants to stack his Q. But he doesn't want to tank any damage, so he plays a bit in like around his range. And goes fishing for the Q3. But again, if you don't lend it, you don't want to tank too much damage. So if you don't lend it, just back off. Totally fine. And here you can see, because the Aatrox kind of hit the wave a bit, he gets to go for, I think he goes for a 3-wave crash instead of a 2. So if the Aatrox doesn't respect in the early game and he sends his Qs on the wave like that, you can adapt to a 3-wave instead of a 2-wave crash. It does feel good as well. You just need to make sure it's clean. So here it is quite close, you can see. Like the wave is right outside his tower. But still fine. He gets his crash here. Gets his ward. And you can see that's the same trading pattern, right? So Q1, try to dodge it with movement. But he was in his W, so it was a bit hard. So he tanked the sweet spot of Q1, that's fine. As soon as he Q2, like he knows he's gonna E forward, right? Like the Q2 would hit like here, but he knows he's gonna E forward. So even if he's out of range, like he still has the threat because of Aatrox E. So as soon as he casts Q2, he E's forward to dodge the sweet spot, and then he goes QW and snaps back. It's a really good trade. And you keep the prio. And crash the wave cleanly. Alright, so we can see, like, this Yone player is really good, right? Korean Grandmaster. But, like, he's not playing too volatile, right? We can see the mindset behind his trades of, like, staying high HP. And in my games, the Aatrox got even lower, but that's not because I'm a better Yone, it's just the Aatroxes will be worse, and lower elos, of course. Here you can see, like, even if he went for that trade, he still had W to mitigate most of it, and disengages the trade as soon as the wave arrives. So here the Aatrox is half HP, and the Yone is full HP at level 5, and that's what you want to do, right? Because if you're even at level 5, it gets a bit hard. Let's see what happened here. That was a weird trade. I'm not sure why he eat forward there, to be honest. Maybe there's like a spectator bug of something I didn't see or whatever. But anyways, like now they're both kind of half HP, level 5. So we can see it gets a bit more difficult. But he gets a gank. So, good man. Ivern did his job well. Good to see. Alright, so because he's the one that got a gank, and because of the gank he's like 15 CS ahead, like you can see he's 500 gold ahead at 5 minutes. So really, really big lead relative to like how early it is in the game. So he goes recurve bow here with triple dagger. Like that's so much combat power. And we can see he hits level 6 as soon as he gets here, so he has a level up advantage, and he just sends it. Like he knows with the amount of combat power that recurve bow and triple dagger gives you, you can just send it like this. So even tanks the Q3, but like it's just so much combat power. And you can see the damage is quite disgusting with recurve and triple dagger. That's why he can go for those all-ins. Even goes for the proxy here. Really, really good punish by him. Now that Aatrox's lane is kind of over. Alright, so the reason why I showed this example is I didn't have one of my own where I get a gank early and get the snowball with recurve bow, but that's also an option, right? So if you have a gank or something like that, you can go recurve bow triple dagger and play really, really aggressive for all ends. That feels really good. That's what he did here. And like we can see like here, he's 25 CS ahead, 2 levels. Like the Aatrox's lane is just over. Alright, so let's get back. So for a quick recap, you either want to do a 2 or a 3 wave crash early. Both are good as long as they're clean. So you don't want like a really ugly crash where like the Aatrox gets to like hold the minions outside of his tower. Then after that, if the wave comes back to the middle, that's great. If it's too close to his tower, you can always one-shot that wave and reset it to the middle. But like the main thing is you want the wave in the middle. You don't want the wave, you don't want to play out the lane closer to his tower, basically. Alright, so level 1 to 4, keep poking him down, do as much damage as possible to him, but also don't take any damage. So like go for 100 to 0 trades, and it's better to both stay high HP than to both go low HP. Basically, that's how I would put it. Also, in the spirit of the game, you want to dodge his Qs inward, and the main training pattern, like dodge his Q1 with movement, try to predict it, move like inside when you think he's going to Q, and then dodge his Q2 with your E1. So like try to go behind him. Then you can go for like a Q, a W, maybe an auto. Depends when he decides to cast his Q3. But as soon as he does, snap back. Don't want to tank his Q3. Alright, so after the first base, your main goal is to get to Borg and punish his mistakes. So if he doesn't really do any mistakes, if he plays out the lane well, like getting to Borg unscathed is the best thing you can do. And then when you get to Borg, you really want to play aggressive. Don't let him farm, don't let him base. Like we saw in the example, right? He wanted to base under tower. I'm going to E under tower and W him to make sure he cancels his base. You don't let him breathe at all. And then once you get to that point in the game, like after Borg and side lane, it becomes a lot easier to play. And remember, Aatrox is a really good champion in skirmishes and team fights in the earlier parts of mid game, so don't let him go there. Like keep the priority in sides, and keep him pinned under his tier 2 tower, and don't let him be impactful in the first parts of the game. Alright, that's it for this episode. See you guys next time.